There comes a moment in every serious man's life when he must stop asking the world to change and start commanding his own mind. That moment is now. If you can hear my voice, it is because something inside you is tired of being a prisoner of fear, doubt, hesitation, and emotional turbulence. You are no longer satisfied with fleeting motivation. You are no longer entertained by distractions dressed as productivity. You are not here to be coddled. You are here to master yourself. And I tell you this truth without apology. Until you control the battlefield of your mind, the war of your life will be lost before it begins. The chains that hold you are not external. They are not made of steel or circumstance. They are made of thought. Negative, undisciplined, uncontrolled thought. And until you eliminate those thoughts, cut them at the root, replace them with principles, fuel them with discipline, you will move in circles. You may look busy. You may even look successful. But within you a storm will rage, a storm of self-doubt, emotional chaos, unconscious reactivity, and internal contradiction. And you cannot build an empire with a divided mind. You cannot hold wealth with a shaky hand. You cannot lead men when you are still a slave to your own emotions. So today, I present not 7 steps, not 7 tricks, but 7 internal disciplines, 7 laws of mental transformation, 7 keys that, if forged into habit, will dissolve negative thinking at its source and awaken the engine of permanent success within you. They are not flashy. They are not easy. They are not popular. But they are eternal. And the man who dares to apply them with total seriousness will discover a power the world cannot give and death cannot take away. Law 1. The discipline of emotional detachment. Let us begin where most men fail, with emotion. If you allow your emotions to rule your day, your days will always rule you. Emotion is a wonderful servant, but a tyrannical master. Negative thinking begins not with thought, but with feeling. A feeling that is unobserved becomes a thought. A thought unchallenged becomes a belief. A belief repeated becomes identity. And identity is destiny. Do you understand? This is the cycle. Feeling, thought, belief, identity, destiny. So if you do not interrupt this cycle, you do not change your future. You merely repeat your past in louder patterns. Emotional detachment is not the suppression of feeling. It is the governance of it. It is the refusal to let your emotional weather determine the climate of your results. It is the ability to feel without obeying, to notice without reacting, to observe without surrendering. The emotionally detached man is not cold. He is clear. He sees the wave of anger rise and lets it pass. He notices fear creeping in and keeps moving forward. He hears doubt whispering and answers with execution. Do not misunderstand. Emotion is data, but it is not instruction. The moment you believe your emotions are reality, you become a puppet. And no puppet ever built a fortune. To eliminate negative thought, you must detach from negative emotion. You must rise above the storm, not with slogans, but with sovereignty. Say to your feelings, you may visit, but you do not rule here. This mind has one master, and it is not you. That, my friend, is the first law of mental freedom. Law 2, the law of thought first. If emotion is the spark, thought is the flame. And if you do not master your thinking, you will be burned by your own fire. Most men live by reaction. They wait for something to happen, then they interpret it emotionally, then they act instinctively. They are not thinkers, they are reactors. And you must never allow yourself to fall into this class of man. The thinking man pauses. The thinking man plans. The thinking man predicts, prepares, and then proceeds with precision. He does not trust the first thought that arrives. He questions it. He reshapes it. He aligns it with principle before proceeding. This is the core of accurate thinking. Let me be clear. All success is first built in thought. The mansion is built in thought. The company is built in thought. The relationship, the body, the bank account, they are all constructed in your mental workshop before they exist in the physical world. So, if your thoughts are negative, your results must be corrupted. If your inner dialogue is weak, your outer life will reflect it. You must begin each day not with action, but with intention. You must interrogate every thought with a single powerful question. Does this move me toward my vision or away from it? If it does not serve your destiny, it does not deserve your attention. You must not entertain thought as if it were harmless. Every thought is a seed, and if planted, it will bear fruit. Only plant what you are willing to harvest. The second law is simple. All creation begins with thinking, and all destruction begins with thinking too. So guard your thoughts, for they are the blueprint of your future. Law 3, the law of mental substitution. No mind can hold two opposing ideas in the same instant. You cannot think wealth and lack at once. You cannot dwell on courage and fear simultaneously. You cannot meditate on success and obsession with failure in the same breath. This is not a motivational slogan. It is a law of mental physics. The subconscious mind, once impressed by repetition, accepts suggestion as fact. It then seeks to organize your behavior, your perception, and your circumstances to match that fact. So if your mind is filled with negative thoughts, it is not enough to remove them. You must replace them. Because thought, like nature, abhors a vacuum. And if you do not deliberately substitute negative thought with productive thought, fear will return, doubt will creep in, and your mind will become the same chaotic jungle it was before you began this journey. Mental substitution is the key. When self-pity arises, substitute it with gratitude. When worry appears, substitute it with planning. When inferiority whispers, substitute it with definite purpose. When anger erupts, substitute it with self-command. You must prepare your substitutions in advance. You must train your mind the way a warrior trains for battle before the war begins. You must arm yourself with affirmations, with principles, with scripts of power that will interrupt the momentum of negativity and redirect it toward productive creation. For example, I am not my feeling, I am the one who directs it. I am not behind, I am being refined for dominion. I do not fear outcomes, I command preparation. These are not platitudes. They are mental redirection systems. You will need them not once, but every day. And you must use them until their power becomes automatic. Your subconscious will believe whatever you repeatedly tell it. If you feed it fear, it will build you a cage. If you feed it strength, it will build you a throne. The third law is this. Do not merely eliminate negative thought, substitute it. Not randomly, strategically. With words that forge your future, instead of fears that imprison your present. Law 4, the discipline of controlled attention. What you focus on expands. This is not poetry. It is neurological reality. The man who masters his attention masters his destiny. Understand this. The mind, left undirected, will default to chaos. You do not need to seek out negativity. It will find you. It is the gravity of the undisciplined mind to drift downward. It takes no effort to be overwhelmed. It takes no training to feel defeated. It takes no strategy to think in loops of fear. But attention, concentrated, deliberate, purified attention is the chisel that cuts through all confusion. Where attention goes, life flows. The average man lives in mental dispersion. His energy is scattered between memories, fears, distractions, entertainments, and opinions that have no bearing on his mission. He wakes up and hands his mind to the world, social media, email, notifications. He becomes a puppet of other people's priorities. But the disciplined man reclaims his mind at dawn. He starts the day not with reaction, but with ritual. He points his attention toward his vision and holds it there like a beam of concentrated fire, and that fire forges the impossible into reality. Controlled attention is not multitasking. It is the rejection of mental noise. It is the ruthless elimination of everything that does not contribute to your next level. It is the recognition that the greatest danger to your destiny is not failure but distraction. Let me speak plainly. Your enemy is not fear. Your enemy is divided focus. And the cure is not hustle. The cure is intention. You must become a master of your mind's direction. Choose what you allow in, choose what you amplify, choose what you ignore. Because attention is a currency, and whatever you spend it on, you buy more of. So I ask you, are you buying confusion or clarity? Weakness or wisdom? Noise or mastery? Control your attention, or someone else will. Law 5. The principle of emotional transmutation. Within every negative emotion lies an equivalent potential of creative energy. Anger, when properly transmuted, becomes decision. Fear, when transmuted, becomes preparation. Grief becomes wisdom. Shame becomes humility. Loneliness becomes focus. This law is the secret to unshakable resilience. The weak man tries to escape emotion. The strong man alchemizes it. He does not say, I shouldn't feel this. He says, let me direct this. Because energy is neutral. It is your interpretation and your reaction that determines whether it builds or destroys. Negative thought cannot survive in a mind trained to transmute emotion. When fear arises, he does not resist it. He converts it into motion. When criticism comes, he does not internalize it. He converts it into refinement. When adversity strikes, he does not collapse. He converts it into fuel. Success does not come from living a painless life. It comes from using every pain as part of your progression. This is emotional martial arts. You take the force that comes toward you and you redirect it into your mission. And that is why transmutation is superior to suppression. Because suppression bottles emotion, but transmutation builds empires with it. The fifth law is this: use everything, waste nothing. What once weakened you must now become your weapon. Law 6, the standard of inner authority. No man can lead others until he commands himself. The negative thinker waits for consensus. He asks for permission. He wonders what others will think. He anchors his value in approval. But the builder, the master, the dominant force of creation, he moves from inner authority. He does not wait to be chosen. He chooses himself. He does not outsource his thinking. He refines it, polishes it, applies it with unwavering conviction. This law is the line that separates the elite from the ordinary. Because inner authority means you do not need validation to act. You do not collapse under misunderstanding. You do not bend to emotional storms from others. You remain firm, not because you are arrogant, but because you are aligned. You trust your process. You respect your principles. You know your aim. And therefore you are immovable. A man with no inner authority will always be a slave to outer conditions. But a man governed by internal standards becomes the axis around which others move. So I ask you, are you moved by emotion or guided by principle? Are you swayed by the crowd or pulled by your calling? Do you wait for direction or do you issue commands from within? The sixth law declares, decide who you are before the world has a chance to tell you, and then live it without compromise, without apology, without delay. Law 7, the law of identity shifting. You can never outperform your identity. You may try. You may read books, attend seminars, recite affirmations, but until you alter the image you hold of yourself, you will always return to the level of life you believe you deserve. Negative thinking survives because it is nested in identity. You say, I am always overthinking. You say, I'm just not disciplined. You say, I've always been like this. These are not harmless statements. They are commands to your subconscious. They are self-fulfilling prophecies. And until you break the identity that hosts these thoughts, they will return again and again, wearing new disguises, sabotaging new opportunities, building new prisons. So how do you shift identity? You stop describing yourself based on your past, and you start describing yourself based on your decision. You say, I am the kind of man who follows through. You say, I am the one who remains calm under pressure. You say, I am built for responsibility. I am built for wealth. I am built for greatness. You may not feel this yet. That's irrelevant. Identity is built not by feeling, but by repetition under pressure. If you act from the identity you desire, that identity will harden into truth. The seventh law is this: you are not bound by your past. You are bound only by the story you keep telling yourself. Change the story and the structure of your life will change with it. There comes a time when a man must stop learning and start commanding, not the world, not others, but himself. That time is now. If you have listened carefully, then you know that negative thinking is not merely an inconvenience, it is a spiritual disease. It infects progress, it corrodes vision, it suffocates potential, and it must be eliminated at the root. But to kill it, you do not need a seminar. You do not need permission. You do not need more time. You need only to decide, right now, in this moment, because all change begins in one place, decision. A real decision is not made with words, it is made with will. It is made in the silence of your soul where no applause can reach, where no doubt can survive, where no one can intervene. And it sounds like this: I will no longer tolerate weak thoughts. I will no longer allow emotion to direct my destiny. I will no longer be a man who reacts. I will be the man who creates. If you have made that decision, even silently, then I tell you the truth. Your life will never be the same again. Because the mind, once governed with authority, becomes a weapon no force on earth can stop. You will still be tested. You will still be challenged. There will be days when the old thoughts knock, when the old emotions rise, when the pull of the past seduces you back into mediocrity. But you will not fall. Why? Because you are not reacting anymore. You are responding from principle. You are commanding from purpose. You are building from stillness. You are deciding from identity, not from memory, but from destiny. And destiny is the reward of the disciplined. Let me remind you, if you control your emotions, you control your energy. If you control your energy, you control your attention. If you control your attention, you control your thoughts. If you control your thoughts, you control your decisions. And if you control your decisions, you control your future. This is not theory. This is law. And the man who obeys these laws does not hope for success, he manufactures it. He bends time. He compacts progress into months that others take years to achieve. He does not depend on motivation. He is ruled by vision. He does not chase outcomes. He attracts them by becoming the version of himself that commands them. You may have asked, how do I eliminate negative thought? But the better question is, how long will I tolerate it? How long will you allow your life to be shaped by feelings you didn't choose, thoughts you didn't inspect, and habits you didn't question? How long will you live beneath the level of your potential? How long will you postpone greatness because comfort feels familiar? There is no force greater than the man who has made up his mind, the man who says, I will not be ruled by impulse, the man who says, I am the master here. The man who rises early, not because it's trendy, but because discipline is his religion. The man who eliminates what weakens him, amplifies what strengthens him, and speaks only when silence cannot carry his message far enough. That man is feared by fear itself. That man moves mountains not because he is special, but because he is precise. And now, that man is you. You were not created to be weak. You were not designed for doubt. You were not born to survive. You were built to dominate, built to focus, built to decide, built to detach from noise and live by purpose. You were forged to do hard things with a calm mind and a clear mission. And all of that is now within reach, not because it is given, but because it is earned. And how is it earned? Through mastery of thought, through discipline of emotion, through the courage to walk alone into the furnace of your own fear and come out forged. Let the world stay loud. Let them gossip. Let them overthink. Let them panic. You will be still. You will be silent. You will be sovereign, because you now carry the 7 laws not as information but as identity. You are the calm in the storm, the voice in the silence, the force behind the future, the architect of results that others will one day call luck, but you will know were forged in solitude, sustained by discipline, and born in a decision no one else could see. So go now, not to talk, not to wait, not to share, but to build. And when you emerge from the silence, when your work speaks for you, no one will question what you became in the dark. They will only wonder how you became unstoppable. And the answer will live forever in your discipline, in your detachment, in your dominion. This is how greatness thinks. And now, it is how you will think too, forever. Do not mistake this moment for emotion. It is not inspiration you are feeling. It is ignition. What stirs in your chest is not fleeting motivation. It is the awakening of power you tried for years to suppress, to civilize, to negotiate with. But power was never meant to be polite. It was meant to command, to expand, to execute in silence until mountains move and men ask how. And when they ask, you will not answer with words. You will answer with results so overwhelming that even your silence becomes a roar. You do not need to be loud to be heard. You do not need to explain to be understood. You do not need to wait to be chosen. You are not a man in training. You are a force in motion. And motion, when driven by clarity, backed by calm, and reinforced by absolute refusal to retreat, becomes destiny incarnate. There will be days when the mind trembles, when fear sharpens its knives, when the world dares you to break. Smile, because this is where your competitors collapse and you climb. This is where the average man folds and you focus. This is where the weak pray for ease and you ask for more fire. Why? Because you are not here to play the game. You are here to break it. You are here to be so precise, so unwavering, so deeply convicted, that time bends to your decisions and opportunity rearranges itself to match your frequency. You are no longer chasing success. You are now summoning it. With every hour of isolation, with every breath held in discipline, with every negative thought executed in the courtyard of your silence, you have now crossed the line between interest and inevitability. And what was once a possibility is now your standard. Because the man who masters his thoughts cannot be denied. The man who controls his inner world becomes the ruler of all worlds. And the man who eliminates weakness at the root no longer hopes for success, he commands it. Not with arrogance, but with absolute alignment. So build now. Build as if your bloodline depended on it. Build as if history is watching you because it is. Build not for applause, but for dominion. Build with fire in your bones and ice in your mind. Build without mercy for distraction, without tolerance for hesitation, without permission from anyone. And when the world finally sees what you've become, do not explain. Stand still. Let your results speak. Let your presence shake rooms. Let your silence make kings question their own crowns. Because when discipline becomes your breath, and thought becomes your weapon, and detachment becomes your shield, nothing in this life or the next can stop you. You are no longer preparing. You are no longer hoping. You are no longer the man who once needed this speech. You are now the voice others will one day quote. The standard others will try to imitate. The blueprint others will study but never match. Because you paid the price in silence, in solitude, in sacrifice, and now you will reign. You are not poor because of your circumstances. You are poor in wallet, in power, in peace, because you have not yet taken control of your mind. All wealth begins in the invisible, and the most neglected battlefield in the world today is not a market, not a mine, not a factory. It is the untrained mind of the man or woman who dares to dream but not yet to discipline. If you cannot command yourself, you will work for the man who can. If your emotions own you, you will always trade potential for comfort, opportunity for opinion, and gold for guilt. There is a law in this world. It is higher than commerce, deeper than politics, more ancient than any economy. It is this: until you master yourself, no mastery will last. The millionaire mind is not a myth, it is not a gift, it is a forged weapon built in silence, strengthened through fire, and wielded by the few who dare to strip themselves of weakness. Now I say unto you without apology, that you can become a millionaire if and only if you do these three things. 1. Master emotional detachment. 2. Build ruthless mental discipline. 3. Seize command of your inner world. Not one of these is optional. Together, they form the trinity of power, and without them, wealth will flee from your hands like water through open fingers. Part 1. Master emotional detachment. There are two types of people in this world: those who react and those who respond. One is a slave, the other is a sovereign. If you wake up in the morning and your mood depends on your inbox, if you feel insulted when someone disagrees with you, if you avoid action because you are afraid of how it might look, Then you are not free. You are shackled by emotion, and worse, by the emotions of others. Now let us define emotional detachment properly, not in the language of cold apathy, but of radiant power. Emotional detachment is not the absence of feeling. It is the presence of command. The man who is emotionally detached does not feel less. He feels deeper, but does not allow those feelings to steer his life. He can be insulted and remain unmoved. He can be praised and remain undistracted. He can walk into chaos and remain clear. Why? Because he knows this. The man who reacts gives away his throne. The man who responds remains king. You will never build an empire with an emotional compass. You must anchor your actions to principle, not pleasure. You must obey your vision, not your vibration. Do you want wealth? Then ask yourself this. Can you be patient in pain? Can you stay consistent when no one believes? Can you delay the pleasure of now for the power of later? The emotionally attached man lives in fear of rejection, of loss, of opinion. The emotionally detached man lives in truth. He is driven not by feeling, but by focus. And here is the first law of detachment. What you do not emotionally need, you will eventually attract. Now, when you no longer need validation, people will respect you. When you no longer chase money, you will magnetize it. When you no longer crave peace, you will radiate it. You will never own what you are desperate for. You will never master what you are emotional about. You will never lead what you are addicted to. You must sever the ties not to people, but to weakness, not to desire, but to dependency, not to emotion, but to the illusion that it must rule you. Part 2. Build ruthless mental discipline. Discipline is the bridge between the man you are and the millionaire you could become. But it is not the discipline of punishment, it is the discipline of royalty. Discipline is doing what must be done, when it must be done, whether you feel like it or not. And let me tell you this truth plainly, you will never feel like it. That's why winners do it anyway. Mental discipline is not a routine, it is a lifestyle. It is not a habit. It is a declaration. It is not about willpower, it is about identity. The disciplined man has made one internal shift. He no longer asks, do I want to? He simply says, this is who I am. You are not your feelings. You are not your habits. You are not your thoughts. You are what you consistently do despite them. And here is the law of mental discipline. Whatever you repeatedly do, you become. Thoughts are not enough. Desires are not enough. Even belief is not enough. Only action builds the future. Only repetition creates transformation. When the average man is tired, he rests. When the disciplined man is tired, he repeats, because he knows this. Comfort is a drug, and he refuses to overdose. Discipline does not ask for applause. It does not ask for company. It does not ask for permission. It wakes up at 5 a.m. when no one sees. It invests money when others spend it. It sharpens its mind when others numb theirs. And make no mistake, you will suffer in life. You will either suffer the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. One leads to freedom, the other leads to failure. Part 2. Seize command of your inner world. The battlefield is not your business. It is not the economy. It is not even your relationships. The battlefield is your mind. If your thoughts are scattered, your results will be. If your beliefs are borrowed, your life will be. If your focus is weak, your future will be. The world you see is shaped by the world within you. And so, let me give you the final law. When you control your thoughts, you control your life. But when you let your thoughts control you, you become a puppet to chaos. Your mind is a garden. What you plant grows. If you plant resentment, you grow rot. If you plant clarity, you grow power. You must guard your mind like a fortress. No lazy thought must enter. No fearful whisper must linger. No self-doubt must take root. And above all, you must speak to yourself. Do not wait for the world to cheer for you. Become your own encourager, your own commander, your own mental architect. This is the secret of autosuggestion. Speak into your mind the thoughts that bend the world. Say, I do not chase, I attract. I do not react, I respond. I do not wait, I act. I do not doubt, I decide. I do not shrink, I rise. Your inner world is not a mirror of your life. It is the cause of your life. And if you don't build it with intention, the world will fill it with noise. So now I ask you, do you want to be free? Do you want to be powerful? Do you want to be wealthy? Then start with this. Detach, disciplina, direct. Master your emotions, and you will no longer be manipulated. Build mental discipline, and you will outlast the motivated. Seize command of your inner world, and nothing external can ever defeat you. The man who has mastered himself can master anything. And until you do, you will forever serve the one who has. You were not born to drift, you were born to direct. And until you understand this, you will be the servant of every distraction, every mood, every minor opinion that dares to interrupt your purpose. The millionaires you admire, they are not luckier, they are not smarter, they are not favored. They are simply more disciplined in the management of one resource you too were born with, the mind. The greatest difference between the rich and the poor is not money, it is focus. While the average man consumes, the wealthy man creates. While the average man reacts, the wealthy man reflects. While the average man needs proof, the wealthy man moves in belief. This is not arrogance, this is alignment. And if you want to rise, you must stop waiting for agreement from others and start declaring authority over yourself. Let us now explore one of the most misunderstood principles of power, mental neutrality. This is not a passive idea. It is not the absence of judgment. It is the ability to remain centered even when the world tries to spin you like a top. To become a master of your world, you must first become a master of your mind's center point. Think of your emotions as a pendulum. The more you swing toward excitement, the more you will swing toward despair. The more you swing toward hope, the more you will swing toward fear. But the man who wins, the man who becomes unshakable, learns to remain at the center where nothing disturbs him. Neither praise inflates him, nor criticism deflates him. Mental neutrality is the ability to observe without reacting, to choose without panic, to think without noise. It is not that he does not feel, it is that he does not flinch. He receives information and processes it not from insecurity, but from intention. For the average man, every word is a weapon, every glance is a threat, every setback is personal. But the millionaire mind sees life as strategy. He studies setbacks like a scientist. He welcomes feedback like a king. He evaluates not emotionally, but accurately. And this leads us to the next immutable law. Emotion clouds evaluation. Detachment clarifies it. If you want clarity, you must give up chaos. If you want wisdom, you must surrender reactivity. If you want wealth, you must live from center, not from crisis. And until you do, your decisions will betray you, because they are being made not by the calm executive within, but by the panicked child. Understand this well. Calmness is not weakness. Calmness is command. A storm will obey a calm captain. A business will follow a calm leader. A mind will bend to a calm master. The man who yells, the man who rushes, the man who panics, he has already lost, for he is no longer in control of his power. Calmness is strength under tension. It is the ability to hold your sword without swinging it. It is the mastery of tone, of breath, of inner stillness. Do you want to know who will be wealthy 10 years from now? Find the one who stays calm in the face of disrespect, delay, and difficulty. Why? Because calmness reveals direction. It is the only posture from which wise decisions can be made. The man who panics makes costly moves. The man who stays calm multiplies his power. Because the calm man is never chasing, he is choosing. You must develop this calmness as a ritual, as a discipline, not with candles and soft music, but with mental rehearsal. Every day, you must train your responses. Every moment, you must return to principle. Every challenge, you must act from intention, not from irritation. The millionaire is calm not because his life is easy, but because he has trained himself to act from truth, not turbulence. And now, we arrive at the most fundamental law of all, the law of thought first. This is the origin of every fortune, every failure, every destiny. Before you move your hand, You have already moved your future with your thought. All actions are echoes of thought. All results are shadows of belief. Therefore, if your mind is unfocused, your life will be scattered. If your mind is toxic, your life will be chaotic. If your mind is undisciplined, your success will be temporary if it comes at all. What do you believe about money? About yourself? About what you deserve? Because here is the truth that no man can escape. The mind cannot contradict itself forever. Sooner or later, your life will match your thoughts for better or worse. You say you want millions, but do you think like a millionaire? Do you feel worthy of wealth, or are you waiting for permission to rise? The millionaire mind says, I do not wait for the world to choose me. I choose myself, and then the world aligns. The average man wants wealth without becoming the person who can handle it. He wants freedom, but his mind is still in chains. He wants peace, but his thoughts are war zones, and so the wealth he dreams of cannot arrive, for it is incompatible with the chaos within. You must become the kind of man who can command millions, not just wish for them. This requires thought, pure, focused, repeated thought. Not once, but daily. Not when you feel good, but especially when you don't. For the man who trains his thoughts trains his fate. Now I speak directly to that silent, brilliant part of you, the part no one sees, but you know is there. The part that is tired of waiting, tired of doubting, tired of asking for permission. Let it rise now. Let it take the reins. You are not weak. You are not a victim. You are not broken. You are undisciplined. You are reactive. You are distracted. And that can change the moment you decide to become the master of your inner world. So I ask you, man to man, mind to mind, will you continue to live as the puppet, or will you rise as the commander? Will you let your emotions rule you, or will you forge yourself into a warrior of thought? Will you waste another year, or will you begin today? Say this aloud and mean it. From this moment forward, I respond, I discipline, I command. I do not bow to emotion. I do not fear judgment. I do not delay. Oh, I am the master of my mind, and therefore I am the master of my destiny. Because until you become this kind of man, no money can save you. No advice can change you. No opportunity can last. But once you do, nothing can stop you. No loss can defeat you. No delay can destroy you. Because the man who has mastered himself already owns the kingdom. Now we cross the threshold. Few ever reach the space between knowing and becoming. Because many will hear these words and nod. Fewer will understand. And fewer still will execute. But let us make something very clear. Execution is the only prayer success ever answers. You may read every book. You may quote every master. You may dream, visualize, journal, and plan. But unless you act from the principles laid down repeatedly, consistently, and unapologetically, you will live as a philosopher of poverty instead of a practitioner of wealth. So now I tell you the truth. Few mentors dare whisper. The only reason a man fails is because he refuses to discipline his mind. Not because of race, not because of schooling, not because of timing, luck, or algorithms. He fails because he let his lower self govern his higher mission. Understand this. Inside every man there is a council, a war room. There is the voice of fear and the voice of power. There is the voice of past and the voice of potential. There is the voice of comfort and the voice of command. Most men let the weakest voice make the strongest choices, and so they suffer not from lack, but from betrayal of self. You will never have peace until your spirit is unified. As long as you say you want wealth, but tolerate the habits of poverty, as long as you speak of vision but live in distraction, as long as you dream of freedom but chain yourself to emotion, you will suffer. You will wake up each day torn between what you could be and what you continue to accept. This is the silent agony of the undisciplined man. He knows what he must do, but will not govern himself long enough to do it. That is not life. That is slow mental suicide. Now listen to this command, not from me, but from your higher self. You must break the contract you made with weakness. Yes, you made it. The contract to sleep in. The contract to get offended. The contract to check your phone instead of checking your purpose. The contract to react to every comment instead of respond to your calling. Tear it up, burn it, replace it. Sign a new one written in mental ink and spiritual fire. It reads, "From this moment forward, I no longer negotiate with the part of me that wants comfort over conquest. I am not here to feel good. I am here to become great." All. Let us now speak of the currency that creates all wealth long before a dollar appears. That currency is not money. It is not time. It is not even knowledge. It is attention. Where you put your attention, you place your future. Whatever you feed grows. Whatever you ignore dies. If you pour your attention into nonsense, gossip, worry, and noise, your life becomes a graveyard of potential. If you pour it into principle, purpose, and power, your life becomes a cathedral of achievement. So I ask you now with urgency and clarity, where is your attention going? On what are you meditating when your mind wanders? On what are you focusing when no one is watching? Because your outer success will never rise above your inner attention span. The millionaire is not rich because he works harder. He is rich because he focuses deeper. He gives his attention to solutions, not distractions, to vision, not validation, to execution, not emotion. This is why the undisciplined cannot succeed, not because they are lazy, but because they are mentally bankrupt. They are rich in excuses, poor in attention. You must become a collector of focus. You must hoard it like treasure. You must protect it like your last breath, because the man who owns his attention owns his world. Now, let us shift to application. Principle without practice is still poverty. So here are the secret habits that forge unshakable minds. 1. Wake before the world. If you rise after chaos has begun, you live in reaction. If you rise before the noise, you build from silence. 2. Sit with your thoughts before you move. Do not touch a device before you touch your vision. Start each day with command, not consumption. 3. Speak truth to your mind. Use auto-suggestion to frame the day. Say what you want repeatedly, with authority until your mind believes. 4. Refuse emotional engagement with nonsense. You do not respond to every insult. You do not explain yourself to mediocrity. You are not obligated to attend every argument you're invited to. 5. Study greatness like a scientist. You do not need 100 friends. You need one blueprint. Study the masters. Borrow their patterns. Install their mindsets. 6. Build rituals, not routines. Routines are habits. Rituals are sacred. Make your growth sacred. Make your mind a temple. 7. Track yourself daily. The undisciplined guess. The disciplined measure. Track your thoughts. Track your results. Track your emotional responses. For what is measured can be mastered. Now we ascend, not just to wealth, but to mental royalty. The millionaire thinks differently. Not because he is special, but because he decided to think differently. He sees fear and asks, what's behind this fear? He sees rejection and says, they weren't aligned with my future. He sees a problem and declares, this is a portal to innovation. The average mind sees enemies. The elevated mind sees mirrors. The average mind seeks approval. The elevated mind issues decrees. The average mind reacts. The elevated mind redirects. To become this kind of thinker is not optional if you want to lead, create, and thrive. You must choose this path, not because it is easy, but because it is the only one that leads to power. We now arrive at the most sacred moment, not because I have spoken, but because you must now decide. Do you continue as you are bound by emotion, enslaved by impulse, ruled by noise? Or do you rise? Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Now, because readiness is a myth, and destiny only bows to decision. Say it. I will not live like the rest. I will not think like the many. Lo, I will not serve my lower self. I will master my emotions. I will discipline my mind. I will command my world. Because this is the truth you cannot escape. You will either master your inner world or spend your life begging the outer one to rescue you. But the man who governs himself needs no rescue. He becomes the storm, the force, the fire. Now we come to it, the summit few ever climb. Not because it is hidden, but because it is hard. And the average man does not want hard. He wants approval. He wants ease. He wants to be liked more than he wants to be legendary. But you, if you have made it this far, there is something in you that cannot be soothed by smallness. And to that part of you, the part forged in fire and not excuses, I now speak. Because this is not a motivational message. This is a mental contract. It is the moment you cross the line between being governed and becoming governor, between being shaped by the world and becoming the one who shapes it. Understand this final law. A man who has mastered himself is more powerful than 10,000 who have not. You were never meant to live on your knees begging for validation, chasing feelings, hoping for luck. You were built divinely and deliberately to think with force, feel with clarity, and act with discipline, to move with precision, to rise with intention, to speak with gravity, to walk into rooms as if the entire atmosphere responds to your presence not because of arrogance but because of alignment. And so now I give you one final truth. It will not feel good, but it will liberate you forever. If you are broke in money, in peace, or in purpose, it is not because life is unfair. It is because your standards have been low, your focus scattered, your emotions untamed. No one is coming to fix it. No one is coming to crown you. No one is coming to save you, because the only rescue that works is the one you give yourself. You want to be a millionaire? Then learn to think like one when there's no money. Learn to act like one when no one sees. Learn to feel like one when doubt screams in your ears and delay mocks your dreams. The wealthy man is not rich because he got a break. He is rich because he refused to break himself. He built when it was boring. He rose when it was dark. He acted when others were afraid. And most of all, he mastered the only territory that truly matters, his mind. If you are ready not to wish, not to hope, but to decide, then repeat these words not with your lips, but with your soul. I no longer wait for the world to choose me. I have chosen myself. I no longer serve emotion. I serve execution. I no longer entertain distraction. I worship direction. I no longer ask how I feel. I ask, what must I do? I no longer react. I respond. I no longer delay. I move. I no longer apologize for ambition. I embody it. Because from this day forward, you are not a man like the rest. You are a rare breed. You are the one who wakes before dawn not for applause, but for purpose. You are the one who trains your mind like a weapon. You are the one who sees in silence what others never notice in noise. You are the one who commands reality because you first commanded yourself. You are no longer a wanderer in the realm of emotion. You are a sovereign in the kingdom of clarity. You are no longer tossed by waves. You are the captain, unmoved, unshaken, unafraid. Now go. Do not save this speech. Live it. Breathe it. Tattoo it upon your decisions. For the world does not need more dreamers. It needs more deciders. It needs men who do not flinch, who do not fold, who do not fear their own greatness. So choose now. Will you be the one? Not someday, not when it's easy, not when you feel ready, but today. This is the hour. This is the threshold, and you are the gatekeeper of your own rise. Step forward, and remember this forever. You cannot become a millionaire until you master your emotions, discipline your mind, and take total command of your inner world. But once you do, no man, no system, no storm, no season can ever stop you again. You are no longer becoming. You have become.